Today we're going to tie a fly I've been working on here for the last couple of years. It's basically a variation of an X Caddis, but it's got a couple extra added features. So I'm starting with a 2488H number 16. I use this pretty much primarily for Mother's Day Caddis, but I think that there's definitely, with some body color changes, probably some variations that could be very effective over on the shoots too. So I'll start my thread directly behind the eye. 2488 is kind of a bent hook, so we're going to take the thread down just past the bend. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in just a real sparse little Amtron, dun colored Amtron tag, like an X Caddis, the little pupil shell. Extend that just a short distance off the back. Remember, if you're using the crinkly stuff, if you pull it and cut it, generally speaking, it's going to be shorter than the way that you thought that it was going to be. So something to keep in mind. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie in a little bit of gray Primo goose bite. I'll just select one off of the stem. I'm going to tie that in tip first with the convex side facing towards the hook shank. So I'll build up just a little tiny bit of a body so we can get a nice smooth tapered transition where we tie that in. Then I'm going to take a little bit of Zappa Gap, just the tiniest amount. This is the brush version. Makes it nice and easy to control on there, but basically I'm just going to stick the tip of my bodkin in there. I want just a little tiny drop. I'm going to run that right along the shank of the hook there. So what this does is when we wrap the biot forward, this is going to really adhere it to the shank of the hook, and that way you're going to get multiple fish out of it instead of just one. Biot tends to be a little bit on the delicate side. Has excellent segmenting qualities, so I think it's worth using, but that little Zappa Gap modification seems like it really does make a big difference. I'm going to wrap the biot forward. Next thing I'm going to do is grab, I have a regular natural dun colored CDC Puff. I'm going to take the whole puff. I'm going to tie it in approximately the length of the body. Snip off my stub end. So the CDC adds a little bit of motion, but it also does an important thing in that it adds flotation. So now we're going to use the dun colored Compare-Dun hair. We're going to take off a small wing. I like to remember to always cut right at the hide, and that way your hide's nice and clean for the next time that you decide to tie. You don't have a bunch of half-cut pieces that you need to work around adding time to the process. I'm going to stack that dun wing. I'm going to stick that dun wing right on top of the CDC. I'm going to pinch it down with my left hand and make a couple soft loops around the hair. Really get it to flare out there. Now I'll just take my thread and I'll work it through the front stub ends. Make a couple wraps in front of the eye. I'll whip finish this at this point, and then we'll clip the excess deer hair off in just a second. Trim off our tag a thread. Now we just take that whole stub end there of that wing.
That's usable. Go ahead.
Just trimming up some last little hairs here. There is your completed, what I'm calling the P90 Caddis. Late night television might have gotten to me, but there she blows. Been fishing it about a year and had really good luck with it on a hatch that traditionally is pretty tough to match.